of all, a warm welcome to both of you, Sanjeev and Supria. So, a short introduction for our audience. The objective of this particular discussion is going to be a long discussion, but not really a long one, a brief one, which is going to talk about the nuances of women at work. That's the first thing. The second thing, what we're going to focus is there are two different things. The one is the workforce gets prepared from the colleges. So as the girls they prepare from the colleges, which direction should they look into, and how do they take a calculative decision whether they are going to hit enterprises or entrepreneurship? That's the second thing. Because entrepreneurship is one of the subjects of study for Supriya, and she's still date a student for that, a researcher for that. She herself is an entrepreneur. And on the other hand, Sanjeev sir is a ecosystem enabler for a lot of startups. So that's going to be really interesting. And the third thing is obviously helping women at work to establish their positions. How do we take it? Because till date, the experience had been that we have been seeing a lot of women leaders working at the operational levels at the leadership positions. Now it's day that we see women as CEOs, like I have attended last time Supriya's CEO workshop, which was organized by Bagggel, which was a really vibrant one. And how do women take leaderships into roles which encompass around the functions like P&L as well as sales, which involves real decision making. So these are going to be the couple of things which we are going to discuss on. Though the guests we have doesn't require an introduction, but still we'll do that. So first we have Supriya. Supriya is the co-founder and the managing partner for Wiser. She is the founder and CEO of Bagggel Foundation. She is an entrepreneurship enthusiast, and even her PhD studies are into the realm of entrepreneurship. So she comes with a rich experience of 20 years into leadership positions in large and very large enterprises like Western Digital, Candice, Calcutta, Lucent, GE Global, and she has led positions into the board levels. So that's Supriya. Then we have Mr. Sanjeev Gupta. So Sanjeev comes with a rich experience, which includes experience into the government administration, and then there has been a stint with companies like Accenture, Microsoft, and IBM, where for 27 years he has been into leadership positions. And presently, he is the Chief Executive Officer of Karnataka Digital Economy Mission, wherein his primary idea is to enable the ecosystem wherein the government works with the other governments across the world, and we come up and build businesses in this country where Karnataka is Sanjeev's first focus. So he says for him, the only work is Karnataka, Karnataka, Karnataka. So that's Sanjeev. So that's the short introduction about both of them. So now straightly we come to the questions. So the first question which I would request Supriya to answer is, see, there are two choices. Either you hit an enterprise or you get into entrepreneurship. So when the aspiring women leaders, the girls who are about to graduate from the colleges, when they come out of their colleges or when they're at the verge of getting graduated, at this time, what are the different things which they should consider to make a choice? How do they decide and prepare that they should go for a career into enterprise or entrepreneurship is my question.
Great, Subha. Very happy to be here and very glad to share the stage with Sanjeev. Thank you for the invitation and look forward to the conversation that is about to unfold. It's amazing that we are talking about women in workforce. We are talking about women, and Karnataka is leading it. So it's been a pleasure working and joining hands with Sanjeev on that. See, two things. Entrepreneurship is the study done by Big Four that India, if it has to grow as a nation, then when that study was done and benchmarked with how other nations have grown, entrepreneurship was one big focus and a thrust area. So before I talk about women, I think as a nation, we need a lot more entrepreneurship to get catalyzed to, the ecosystem should be very active and we have more people. Because when you start a company, you get employed for sure. You also generate employment for others. You also add to the economy. You obviously fulfill a customer need and you're solving problems. So clearly entrepreneurship as a landscape, I think we are the third largest ecosystem. We have heard Mr. Piyush Bansal talk about how we can do a lot more. So I think that part stays. Having said that, corporate is also important part, because it's also your identity. Even before women they graduate, I think one thing needs to be clear. Unfortunately, in a patriarchal society like India, though we are changing, and I think we can see a lot of change. So we can talk about problem or talk about solution. I'd like to say let's talk about solution. We are changing. There was a time when the only identity of women could have is a mother, a sister, and I think that's changing. A wife. Women need to be very, very clear. I think that there has to be an identity that is work identity. First, the work needs to happen on that. Whether I'm employed in a job, get some experience, figure out how enterprises work, understand the entire workflow, then take a year or two and three, whatever, depending on your acumen, and then get into an entrepreneurship. I have done that myself. It worked for me. But if someone has a great idea and thinks this is the space like AI is opening up, and you think, or, you want to do consumer, and you have a great idea, you have a great co-founder, you have a good team that you can start with, because that's key. Then I would say it's any, today's any good time as any other. So it's okay to, if you want to start after, when you finish graduation. There are a lot of women accelerators one can join in to make up for the experience and make sure that journey is accelerated. So I would say, Shiva, it's going to be irrespective of which medium you choose to either be employed or also be employed and give employment, which is entrepreneurship. I think the important thing is women need to focus on career as an identity. And that needs to start from day one, is what I would say.
Sure, that's really greatly responded. Thank you so much for that. And actually, women need to create their identity in terms of defining their work profiles, whether it is entrepreneurship or it is going to be a job, regular job in an enterprise. And this decision has to be arrived at the early career stages. So one question related to this, since you have been into entrepreneurship, like you said that if they have an excellent idea which can be implemented and then they can transform lives, and there are a lot of women accelerators which they can join. But we have seen in the recent trends, specifically in the Gen Zs, that a lot of people get misguided or not properly guided in terms of entrepreneurship, wherein they drop out of colleges, get into the first phase of entrepreneurship, and then they come back. So, what do you suggest as a preventive measure to stay out of this?
So I wish there were errors that we could all avoid. Some of us are going to experiment and learn. That's at the core of entrepreneurship. There are three things which are at the core. You have to do something where there's an economic rent, which means there is something that the market is ready to pay a premium for. If there's an idea that the market is not ready and not ready to pay premium, obviously that idea does not, it's not going to see the light of the day. So the idea has to be that. The second is the risk-taking ability, because it's going to take you a few years, not months, for you to. I am right now, in the capital starting a fund. I haven't done a fund before, and I can tell you every day we learn something. And every day we learn, oh my God, there's a better way to do it, or there's a different way to do it. So I think live and learn is going to be there, and risk-taking ability issue is far more important. The third is going to be how quickly you learn. I have no problem with errors. I've only two things I'll say. Don't repeat the errors. And second, if the error is something that it taught you, well, that's fine, because then it's not an error. You learned something. And it's better to learn from an error than a blunder. So make small incremental errors. How can you avoid? Always make sure that you choose where you can learn. So have good mentors early on. Now, even when you say mentors, there's going to be people who are not invested in your career. So your choice of a mentor is somebody who's done a startup, somebody who's an LP, somebody who's an investor. So I think carefully look at that. Today, there's social profiles available of people. There are LinkedIn's. Do some references early on. But I think it's always good to, as a startup, have an advisor, have a mentor, have someone who's deeply interested in both you and the idea. It's great to have someone who's come from that domain. The second thing I would say is for women, that as much as retail is great, I think we need a lot more women coming up in deep tech and that kind of space. I think that is extremely important. Please use technology as your game changer idea. There are many incubators that you can be a part of. All you have to do is just search. And today, as much as there are years of Google search, do a chat GPT, figure out what application. There is Karnataka Fund that is there. Look at that and see how you can apply. You can always write to Women at Work at KDEM, because we are very passionate about women turning entrepreneurs and also return to work. Today, you can't say that there's lack of information. Today, you can't say there's lack of access. I think digitization and platforms have got that available. All you need to do is that do your due diligence, and that's what I would say, Shubha.
Thank you so much. And knowingly, you have forayed into a couple of words of my next question, which I was supposed to ask Sanjeev. So, nonetheless, so thank you so much. So, Sanjeev, the question for you. So, you write the digital economy for the state of Karnataka, and your dreams are much relevant to deep tech as well as to the digital landscape of the nation, where Karnataka plays a very important and a pivotal role in holding the digital economy. So my question to you, there is a huge surge in the digital industry in terms of work opportunities and also into the deep tech segment. And with the softer part of it coming forward rather than the manufacturing segment and the other segments, when once we talk about software or deep tech, all these areas, the emerging technologies, where a lot of women are coming forward and coming forward with aspiring roles, with a lot of dreams. How do you position this as a strength for a state like Karnataka?
Shubh, I will answer this question in a minute later, but because I want to just add upon what Supria was talking about, and just a great pleasure to share the stage with her. Well, the new thought process, and she provokes a lot of new thoughts as well. Uh, I want to start in saying that women are born leaders and women are born entrepreneurs, and I tell you why. And men are specially born as an employee. If you see as an historical, ancient and everywhere else, or you see in the Hindi philosophy as well, you know, Devi is there. In fact, the Lord Vishnu is jumping always for Lakshmi, or Lord Krishna is jumping for Lord, Radha as a Devi, right? It's there. That means we all are looking at her as a high inspirational and motivational and energetic for us. So from there, if you see a house and a family and a society, when a family is managed so by a woman, look at the way the family turns around as an ROI of her results, right? They are born entrepreneurs, they're born leaders. Now, what's happening around is that if I would have given a choice to, say that between the entrepreneur and an employee, I would say natural choice to be the entrepreneur because it's in the DNA in a woman, right? So that's the one part of which I want to share. Second is, even if you are an employee in these tech decades, unless you have an entrepreneurship thinking in you, you will not survive. So what you need to do is, irrespective of what, and women has an edge on that. A, I said they already have a DNA of entrepreneurship in them. B, if they also choose to be an employee, and if they just leverage their entrepreneurship DNA stuff to sharpen their entrepreneurship style in the jobs, I can assure you they will be the shining stars. Right? So that's the second point I wanted to make, along with what uh, Supria was talking about, that why we should cite. The third thing is when you said about um, what is the preventive measure that we can do if we don't take errors, right? And in that part, I just want to add with Supria is that look, network. Tell me how many students in the institutions are leveraging the network of knowing the people, right? When they reach out to they read them about it, they connect with them, they ask questions to them. Tell me how many of us this do it. It's just a of a boy or a girl. So for me, my first question to the student community as a whole is, you are going to be driving the future economy of the world, of India, of the state of Karnataka.
And you could check your connection once, Sanjeev. You're breaking in between.
Until you start asking question today, until as you start developing your network today, you will not be able to understand the power. Is it better now?
Yeah, better than before.
Is it better now?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for that. So I'm just saying, the third point I was saying is that uh, until they start raising questions today and they start developing the network, by the time they come out from their college, they would have written certain articles based on what they have got inspired by some of the people who are writing about it. They must have got connected with hundreds of leaders, even if they have not accepted your LinkedIn request, but you have got connected. You know this person and you have sent a request, right? And the request will be accepted only if you are asked the right questions. So you will make 10 questions, out of which one question will be right and one person will respond. That's the way your network start developing. And then once you're out from the college, you already have your so-called indirect mentors available for you, which you can multiply those numbers together. So that was addition to what Supria was saying, and you asked this question because I was excited to share this perspective of mine on this. The digital economy, fortunately, Subha, is not biased to any gender. It's not biased. It doesn't look at, hey, this job requires a muscle power, or this requires a mind power, or this requires soul power, or some universe power. It's just tech skill power. And the tech skill power is equally available for everybody. Am I interested to find out what type of tech is required and where the skills can be done and how can available that? This awareness in the larger communities, especially as you go down, and then gender-wise, goes down and down and down. Right? From the distance from a center of economy, if you take larger kilometers, it goes down. And if you go from a gender perspective and then community-wise, it goes down. As an enabler, our responsibility is to ask and find out where there is. Fortunately, today the technology is playing fantastic. No bias towards any gender. It's the third element is, am I looking for my grades from a digital economy to get a beautiful job or beautiful tech idea? No. Nobody is looking at your grades. I'm very, very frank, and maybe my academic colleagues may be a different angle to that. But that's okay. I have a freedom to share what I feel is right now. On the perspective, Subha, nobody is looking at your grades. So friends and boys and girls, if you're there and listening to me, you just create a knowledge in you, right? Ask the question that you can justify yourself. Ask the way that you learn, that you can apply that part in your thinking of day-to-day understanding. Let's say if I'm looking at machine language as a pursuit of my day-to-day life, how can AI help my mother? In your day-to-day life, if you start leveraging the application of an AI or application of a technology, you will be now coming right as shape. And then your degrees, then your certifications, then your skills of different kinds get the employability index higher, not the grades. So two statements which I made is, the third is, Karnataka is a powerful state and the leading state. If we do not demonstrate that, we have the jobs and we have the various companies coming forward and the people can join, then no other state has that leverage here. What I'm looking at is that women at a large, if are coming in and using the deep tech and coming and joining the deep tech as an entrepreneur or as employee, but entrepreneurship thinking, I'm pretty sure I will be able to leverage this part of the strength to attract more investment to the state. So through this, actually what I'm doing is seeking help from the women community. Please help me, please come back such that I can attract more investments. Let me take a pause.
So that's really inspiring, Sanjeev. That the one thing what I like is placing the skill ability above the physical ability and the mental ability. So that is from where the learning begins. And this is a request to the Gen Z that you should understand that there is a leadership who has the DNA of understanding that how do we democratize opportunities for men and women, and there is nothing to worry about it. But again, the same thing what Supriya did, Sanjeev has repeated. You have also forayed into a couple of words of my next question, which was supposed to be the question for Supriya. But nonetheless, again, Supriya, coming back to you. So we learn a lot of things from our family. If we see that if you want to learn about the world, look at your family. If you want to look at management, how your father and mother runs the show, how your father goes to your grandfather for an approval, how you go to your mother for an approval, then the further approval is done by your father. So this is how you understand that how an organization works as well. But in a typical Indian family, for example, let us take the middle class. And in a middle class family, we have seen that women has shown phenomenal results in doing something which is known as crisis management, which is a very difficult part, which men usually doesn't do. So how can we replicate the same spirit in industry and build leaders? Is my question to you, Supriya.
Fabulous. Well, great question. And Sanjeev and I, like, we'll just build on each other. So I think first, thank you so much. It's just so heartening. Like I said, it's always pleasure to work with him. And it's just heartening to say how much of appreciation and respect is there for women, and also asking them to come forward and help him raise funds. So Subha, let's make sure this webinar goes viral, and the every woman hears it, at least in Karnataka, and they come forward and we channelize the vision that is there. See, coming to this, Socrates said it very nicely. You want to change the nation, you have to start at the smallest unit, and that's family. So family is where we learn a lot of stuff. We inherit our values, we inherit our behaviors, we also look at habits. Um, Mother is a very central part of any family unit. Traditionally, the roles were like, men as hunters, they would, go and hunt for food, and women would come and make sure the food is ready and provide bread. Um, Even today, as much as women have ventured out, and they are doing what men earlier did, which is earn. There are dual income families. The role of looking after home has not changed. The household inequity stays. The men are continuing to focus on what their work is, which is world of work. There is not much participation in the household. So that needs to change as a society. It's like it's mother conceives, but the family in her, is born, they have a child. So I think that parent teacher meetings, at times I hear that they only become empty, and mother teacher meetings, a lot of men don't show up. I think there is room for that improvement to happen, is one part I will say. So I'll make an appeal to say, men, please enter the household. And like I said, that's changing too. It's not changing at the scale and the pace at which it needs to. My dad is a great cook. My mom is now venturing out as an art of living teacher, and my dad looks after the house, puts the food on the table. And I just love that. Did he do that when he was in his 20s? No. But is he doing that when he's in his 70s and 80s? Yes. We're all learning. But coming to moms, resource allocation, which is natural part of any management, they do a great job at that. Togetherness, keeping the family together. And in India, we have our family and also the in-laws. Keeping the team together is a very essential trait. Women do it, amazingly well. Someone told me, my earlier boss, that you become a leader. When you become a leader, you don't think about yourself. You think about your team first. The mom is always putting the needs of the family first, and she's the last to think about. That's a classic trait of a leader, when you can think beyond yourself and put your team first. The other thing is also to say, set budgets. My God, the women are doing extremely well in finance, right? And we clearly have an example in shining finance minister. They manage it. I remember the dad is going to put money on the table, and women will do much, manage in that, and then still keep some for a rainy day. India has a culture of savings. So I think a lot of these skills are there. Even when you conceive and become pregnant, and then, your entire changes that happen. And then how do you, include that, little baby in the family? How do you grow, nurture? Well, that's growing and nurturing and hiring your team. This one is a lot more personal. The point, Subha, is two things. Women need to know that these are skills, and therefore be confident that there is a lot to learn from here and apply to workplace. The workplace needs to know that these are skills that are transferable. And therefore, if a woman has done that, let us appreciate that a lot more, and not laugh and mock that, pregnancy was a break, you enjoyed, you did a vacation and came back. I think we just need to move to women appreciating and the ecosystem appreciating and respecting. It will not, I'm not saying that, 5 years in corporate is equal to 5 years at home. By no means am I saying that. But I'm saying there is transferability of these skills, and therefore, give women a chance and explore probably understanding as to what they bring to the table. It is the unpaid work that is going unnoticed today. And in any way, in any formula that you want, at least let's figure out a way to make way for that work to find its way in the corporate. And let's appreciate women for what they do, and let's bring them into the workforce with confidence, than tag them as diversity hires. And, there is nothing called diversity. If men are the workplace, women are the diversity. But if the society is equal, India is 48% women and 52% men. Well, the corporate needs to learn a lot there. I think we have a lot of way to go to balance this. So it can happen if we start at least once level, respecting and appreciating women for what they bring to the table.
We responded, and I think I've asked the right question to the right person. Yeah. So Sanjeev, the next question for you is, what's your opinion that till date we have been experiencing CXOs where we have seen women in leading roles, but we speak about Indra and Noe when it comes to CEO roles, and we don't see speaking much about women in terms of CEOs because somehow there has been a typical mindset that women has been leading positions which are more of operational in nature, which is a little bit away from decision making to a certain extent when it comes to macro decisions as an enterprise or an organization. So how do you foresee this, and what is your opinion that there has to be a paradigm shift where women has to come up with initiatives where they are getting into roles like CEOs and definitely into roles which is involving P&L or sales or institution building from a broader perspective. So that's what we want to know, Sanjeev.
Yeah, Subha, I think, see, when I met the CXOs who are the women leaders in the economy, uh, I see two things very simple. One is the real power of, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
When they come in, yeah, sorry for that. When they communicate, they clearly communicate with a lot of arguments with numbers, right? So, successful women leaders, I have seen this part very clearly. So that means inherent, they have already this part of skill in terms of getting these numbers game solidly done. The second point is, I met one, CEO. She's a woman leader, and she said, "Look, Sanjeev, I want to send my CTO for a meeting, but he has gone to pick up his son, and so I will stand for him right now." And understanding of this part, only women can do. If it would have been a man and a woman has taken out, what happened? Woman has to go out and do this size, sorry, I will send somebody else. Even he will not come. It's sent for that person. And I'm making a statement as a man to a man, right? But that's the reality. But I really like part is that the human kindness also comes into the organization as you see a woman leader in an organization, right? So those are 2 points I want to make. Now, is a woman has a capability, as I said, right? There's a tremendous capability that the woman has. They've been born with these leadership qualities, managing. So please just explain that part for every single angle, from a typical financial management systems to more of a strategic decision making processes, upbringing,
You're breaking, Sanjeev. We are not able to hear you.
We are missing out with golden words.
We lost you for the last 5-10 seconds, Sanjeev. If you can check your connection, please.
qualities. The quality, can you hear me?
Sanjeev, we lost you for last 10-15 seconds. If you
So
can
my signal's low.
say that again, repeat that.
Unable to hear you. You're on mute, Sanjeev.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So,
I was saying that the
you're breaking. Again, you're not audible. We can't hear you.
piece apart from that capability which exists is that the situation where a woman thinks whether I should
hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Hmm.
No?
But it's not that clear.
Why don't we carry on with Supriya for next question? I will come back to this.
Now it's clear.
Yeah, sure.
Now it's clear?
Now it's
Yeah.
clear, right? Subha, it's clear now.
Now it's clear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's clear.
Oh, okay. What I was saying is one thing which I want to give an advice to the larger women community and young girls is whenever you come in a situation where you say, shall I say this or shall I not say this? Shall I ask for this for myself or not myself? Can I do this or can't do this?
We lost him, Subha.
Yeah.
He's back.
You're on mute, Sanjeev.
Now it's better. Now is it better?
Yeah, better.
Okay, sorry for this inconvenience caused. My was saying make a statement that there's always a situation comes in the woman's life where 90% in my belief, girls and the woman says, shall I ask this question or not? Shall I can I take this work on my shoulders or not? Can I do this or not? Am I able to do this? What if I don't able to do this? Then what will happen? These are the questions which comes in the mind of woman and girl every time. And especially in the corporate world, this comes more and more. My only humble suggestion and to request to the larger community today and the call for them is whenever the situation comes, you have to take a bold step and say, I can do it now. I'm going to ask this question. No worries if I fail. No worries if my question is a dumb question. No worries if this work, even if I ask for me, it goes to somebody else. Doesn't matter. If you remove this part of your perspective in your personality, you are born leaders then. You will be shining stars in the community. And that is the one important suggestion or a request with my folded hands to a larger community is please do this. Even the family also, when you're sitting on a dining table and something is discussion happening upon, and you want to take about of some family matters issues and you want to say something and your voice is not being given the chance, you stop the conversation, listen first of all what I want to say. Even if it is wrong or bad or ugly, doesn't matter. Likewise in corporates, if a manager is saying, hey, this work can be done by somebody else and you are interested to do this job, say that. Give me an opportunity to prove myself. What will happen maximum? Where you are, you will be there only. If he doesn't succeed, it's okay. But why to miss an opportunity? And that is our important message which I want to give. Back to you, Shiva.
Yeah, so pretty well responded. And there is one thing which I can fetch from what you said is the moment you drop hesitation, you start placing your expressions over impressions, and that makes all the difference because expressions are more important. Impression gets created on its own, so you have to drop your hesitation to reach that level. So pretty well responded, and there's a lot of learning I can see from here, Sanjeev. So my next question to you, Supriya, is do you think it is important to define the returnship monitoring programs for the corporates, which has to be one of the most important functions for the HR fraternity?
Before you answer, Supriya,
Yes.
sorry, Supriya, I want to
Yes.
add with that is Bagggel Foundation is doing this leadership, webinars and, physical meetings. And now I was requesting her that if she can come out with a 7 days program. These programs, I will request larger women community to please attend. Bagggel Foundation is trying to put together a approach and a new model of approach to bring women leaders up. And what those tools could be, what those communities could be, is what she's trying to do. So my answer got completed now. Now you can ask the next question to Supriya.
Thank you, Sanjeev. Thank you for your faith in Bagggel Foundation, and thank you for entrusting us with the charter of saying, come up with a 7-day program. We will work together, and we will envision this, and we will definitely launch it in 2025. That's my commitment. Online, coded.
Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers. Returnship programs are extremely important, Subha. And you know why they're important? Let's talk about what Sanjeev said. If every woman starts raising their hand, being persistent in saying, I will not stop till my voice is heard. Removing self-doubt, replacing with self-confidence, and going for an opportunity, and at the core of it being a risk taker. If some of these elements we start inculcating, institutionalizing in women, early on at a girl level, when she's a young woman, when she's later more experienced, if we start doing this, because sometimes when you start too late, it just becomes that much more difficult because that much of unlearning has to be done. The self-doubt is so seeped in at probably 30s or 40s that becomes that difficult, which is why I love Women at Work initiative, under the leadership of Sanjeev. You're looking at working with colleges, you're looking at very early on, building that, sowing that seed of self-confidence. Raise your hand, ask, build in your skills. You want to be a CEO, build front-end skills. So I think with that as a background, it is, we don't need these programs. But since we don't have that background today, starting early on, you need to have these programs. And I know a lot of companies do a fab job of it. And they provide a platform. They have opportunities that they even earmark. These are not quotas, they are targets. And then the entire panels are constituted. I also know diverse panels that get done. Goldman Sachs is one shining example of running these programs. There are other corporate who do it. I think some of these, Infosys does a great job of it. VMware does it. I think some of these programs are extremely important. Why? Because the maternity break is 6 months, yes, but you're out of the system. A lot of times there are complications, and therefore you may have to take a break for a year, 2 years. The technology shifts that Sanjeev spoke about, they're shifting, my God, so much. As much as the technology is gender neutral, the shifts you may not be able to keep in sync with. So I think there are a lot of parameters that today, if you choose motherhood, don't play in your favor. But corporates doing this, saying we welcome you, we are very ready to reskill you, and we welcome you. I think that's a big plus in encouraging women to come forward. So I think I would say a yes to this for sure. And Women at Work and Initiative of Karnataka working for it. I think that's a great marriage between the government and the corporate.
Thanks for that. So, Sanjeev, if your connection permits, can we go ahead with the next question? So,
Please,
yeah,
please go ahead.
sure. So now my next question is again coming back to the Women at Work initiative of Karnataka Digital Economy Mission, which has been driven under your leadership. So, what is the vision for the next 3 years? What we want to achieve in terms of wow?
Yeah, the wow factor can only come in when I have let's say in my Elevate program, we have around 30% women founders participate come. Can we have 50% of the women founders, with other 50 women founders? So that would be a wow factor. But it's a number game again. Wish there could be 70%, wish there could be 80%. Why only limit to 50%, right? So, but at least there's a wow factor here. If I will say that, hey, I have my 10 corporates or 12 corporates right now who is partnering with me and saying, let's make a message to the larger community that whenever you want to come back, here's a program that we want to bring you inside the world of corporate. Okay. If that's 10, can they become 100? I have a poster which says 100 corporates are joining hands to say, if you want to come back to the work, reach out to so-and-so point of contact, send your CVs, somebody will reach out to you. And there's a programmatic approach. Right now, what we're doing it's I would say a little bit transactional approach. I need to still design this into a more programmatic approach where every corporate's pitch in. And there is a forum where the woman who is coming from Karnataka wants to come back is there. That will be a wow factor for me. The third and the last beat is that, this topic of discussion of can women come back? Can women come back? Can we do something for the women? This topic itself is out from the topic of discussion. Then it becomes a really wow. It's not required, right? So how can we do? Maybe not 3 years, maybe in 10 years. But if we reach that stage, till the time we don't reach it, until the time we all are alive, I'm going to work for it.
So, thank you so much. That creates a lot of confidence in the mind of the viewers who are there for sure. Until now, the discussion has been pretty good in terms of a lot of truths unfolding in front of the audience who are there in front of us. So coming back to you, Supriya, India as a society, we are known for the endurance factor in the international markets. Hope you agree with me. And when it comes to India as a community, we are pretty much resilient, and we have been standing through a lot of storms. And of course, we try to win at the end of the day. So when it comes to inclusivity of women in leadership, so how do you foresee this, and how can the society contribute to this? Since the society is pretty much having the strength of endurance, how do you put this into one packet from where women can take it forward?
I love your questions, Subha. So congratulations on thinking through them. This is
Thank
one of the
you.
finest set of questions I've come across. So great job on that. We are very resilient as a society. Absolutely rightly said. India is doing extremely well economically on the world stage. I think very well said. In the technology, AI, and other revolutions, we are right now not in catch. We are at the in at par. We can do more and a lot more. We continue to have talent that is amazing. We have a demographic dividend. All of that is well said. As a society, Subha, my vote is slim and grim. My vote is, as a society, we need to do a lot more. I had been part of conversations when at Western Digital we were launching the Startup Challenge Data Innovation Bazaar. We were looking at investing in startups, and we were shortlisting also women startups in deep tech. I remember talking to two of those, where they said their parents are not comfortable in them traveling outside their birth town because they don't find it safe. And the first primary thing is that, I think, safety. We have regulations in place, even in Karnataka and almost every other state, women can't work beyond this time. So I think we have a lot of way to go in making first society as safe. Once safety is underscored, written, and taken for granted, I think women can do a lot more and come out, and parents would not hesitate. In the urban areas, in the urban population, is this changing? Absolutely. But I think we are just not in urban India. We are in India that's urban and rural both. So I think we need to talk about that, tier 2, tier 3 cities and all of that. So I think it's for safety first. We at Bagel say we will cease to exist once the world is balanced. Right to work, right to voice, right to speech, all of those are rights. Women are equal in that. If we can, at society, start looking at household being managed by men and women both, only then can women step out. Because if they continue to manage their household and then they step out, they get burnt, overworked. And at some point of time, they think they can't have it all. And then they have to start trading off and making choices. To say, if I have a child, I will probably lose 2 years in career. Should I have not? People are today making choices not to have children. That's not great for a nation as ours, though everybody's entitled and free to make their choices. More creches, more daycare centers, high quality daycare centers for kids at affordable costs. Should not be only left to those with deep pockets. That is something we as a nation have a lot more to go forward in, because then you know that there is someone else, there's a lovely nanny, there's a great grandmother, equivalent. Because today we break away from households that are joined to nuclear. Some of these systems, institutional support needs to kick in. So I think I would say, as a society, need to know that men is equal to women, equal to men. They may have different skill sets, different things they come, but at work, it's common. And second, as a society, I think making it safe for women and giving institutional support in daycares, creches, I think all of that's a significant part of the puzzle. Equally elder care, equally institutional support on elder care, where you can have grandparents, all of that looked after, because all of this falls on women. Two significant things they go through, which is maternity, which is childcare, and then, of course, elder care. And they quit and they think they have trade-offs to make. But if institutions can come up as a society and men can play an equal role in some of these, women can march forward a lot more with ease. You can't attach a 50 kg weight and then say, go swim. You got to lessen their burden. Someone has to share the workload. So as a society, we are making good advances. I think we can make them fast, institutionally and with scale. This will be my view.
So that's great. Now, in the interest of time, quickly, Sanjeev, I'll come to the last question. Looking at the Indian industrial context at a macro talent level, when it comes to talent acquisition, do you think that the enterprises should come up with something like gender diversity as a mandate in hiring?
To be very frank, to completely agree, right?
Sir, you're breaking, sir.
Oh, is it clear now?
Better than before.
Okay. Uh, what I was saying is I don't prescribe to this thought of giving corporates a message for a gender diversity hiring. I don't prescribe to this thought. What I prescribe to this thought is understanding that what Sophia is saying, there are three faces of the woman. Like if you're having a weight of 50 kgs on your shoulders and you want to swim and equally win the game, not fair game, right? How corporate can play is to change this inside the corporates. So what we can do is today, corporate started a role of saying, crushes coming up place in the tech parks and etc. Fair point. But what happened about the further care, right? What happens to their parents' care? How corporate can make a benefits program in such a way that employee feels empowered in their organization to be much more productive. That will attract more of the talent, irrespective of the gender. That will attract more talent. So I firmly believe that any sort of this kind of messaging about, hey, only gender hiring, no way, never. Let's compete with the merit, but the corporate has to play a role of sometimes like an elder family member to ensure that they understand the pain points of their family members and resolve one by one. And from there, it might go to the larger society, larger communities, and people will understand. And whosoever does something on the gender biasness, could be a woman or a man, is treated equally. Example, if a woman makes a comment about a man, it's also been not just clap, ho, 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 because of a man, you can say anything you want to say. And a man says about a woman, it's okay that. That's fair. So we have to figure it out that, hey, if you're making a joke about a man also, it's not as fair as you making a joke about a woman in an organization. How to bring culture up is what we do. He and his and her. We deliberately inside our own communication skills, we are trying to develop this skill, right? This need to go out larger. So I'm in favor of the gender diversity reservation, so to say, higher goals. That's my call.
So wonderfully responded, Sanjeev. So I think it's time to wind up. And the last set of thoughts, what you have left is now the next motto for the next generation is not going to be that behind every successful man, there is a woman, or behind every successful woman, there is a man. There is no definition as such. But the idea should be we should dream of such a day when we say that behind every successful entity, there is a society where opportunities are equal for each and everyone, and we don't discriminate. So there comes the wonderful days for the country like India. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Thanks so much, Supria, for your time. Thanks, Sanjeev, for your words of wisdom. So we'll just open the house for the next 5 minutes to take a couple of questions on the chat box, and we can respond to them one by one, and then call it a day. Yeah.
Sure.
So there is one question from Momita. Does it always work this way? In reality, women, in spite of experience, are considered threat and risk and awarded to join back work. Like I am not able to get back to work after 17 years of experience. So it's open. Anybody can respond to this question.
Sanjeev, do you want to go ahead?
Sure. So, ma'am, if you are a 70 years old student and you're not able to get into the job, I think what we is that what job you're looking at for, right? And is that just those requirement of the skills that you have, right? Or if you're aspiring to be let's say, a techie and you want to be in the project leader role, coming back, assume that I'm just thinking aloud. Now you got some number of years of gap in this part. Thus, the project leader will also understand that what type of tech platforms are being used into this. And if you're not, then maybe it's a time for you to upgrade your skill and then go forward. The second suggestion is that, these are corporates which are also looking at the, initiatives of this kind. So you need to reach out to those corporates, and through us also we can definitely help on that to reach out to some of the corporates. The last piece is, I think, in my view, when this problem comes, which is a big, like, where I want to get into the we might into the same industry alone. Maybe some other versions of the roles can be commonplace, right? So diversifying yourself to the different levels may also be a good idea to think about it. Just a couple of sessions.
Yeah. Sure. The thanks, Sanjeev, for the answer. I think we lost him, Supria, for the problem with his connection or internet or something. So the next question I would request you to answer: how do we deal with patriarchy at work, where women are not given leadership roles, and also younger male team members overpower and override? This is a question from Yashwini.
Yeah. Yashaswini, thanks for the question. It is a problem. First, acknowledging that it exists. I would say, yes, that's a problem. And I acknowledge that it exists in the corporate, which is why Sanjeev and I have been hosting this webinar also to make an appeal to corporate. There are many ways to go around it. But first, I would say, ideally, it shouldn't happen, but the fact that it happens and it's happening. First is, it's a problem. And I think, how do you raise it? I would always say prepare for the problem first. Prepare to have a conversation and practice it in your head a lot of times, because there are some traps, and this can happen to men and women both. We approach the problem emotionally. I would always encourage everyone to say approach it logically. Corporate, unfortunately, largely is a logical and a rational place where decisions are made, as much as there's room for emotion and now empathy is coming in, but it's largely still remains a rational and logical place. Prepare for the question. Figure out there are only two people you can raise it with. There are three actually. HR is the function is entrusted with such responsibilities to look at microaggressions, look at cultural barriers, cultural lack of alignment. This is clearly lack of cultural alignment. No corporate will say we value men over women, but these are microaggressions, subtle things that exist. So figure out if you have a relationship with HR, if there is a formal process, or if you know someone very well, you can raise it with them. Your manager is clearly the first person that you can raise it with. The third is going to be a mentor or a sponsor, that you can raise it with, whom you can raise it with. But be very careful. This is an important conversation. You want to make sure that you prepare well and you raise it. I would always say that, some people take it to writing emails, long emails. I would always encourage to have an in-person conversation first, understand, see what you can do, what the environment is ready to do. And if then asked to document an email, will only then do it. That was what I would say.
Thank you,
But
Supriya.
definitely.
Sure, thank you. There is one more question for Bagggel directly. This is Kavita, and she's asking, how do I start my entrepreneur's journey? I have an idea and I want to invest my energy. How can KDEB help or Bagggel help me to start this journey?
Great question. KDEM, Karnataka Digital Economy Mission.
She has written KDEB. I
Yeah.
think she wanted to mention KDEM.
Yes.
So that's a typo, I suppose. Yeah.
So KDEM or Bagggel. KDEM is a great place to write. I would then say Wiser is a great place to write. So you have an idea. The first thing you need to do is obviously market research. Is this idea there? Not there. So first, I would say I hope you've done your research, because wherever you go, your first research is very important. Your competitive landscape is very important. What is your entire business plans? Your presentation, your deck is very important. So hope you've done research on that. You have a representation that's ready, and that's the right time to have a conversation. Even at an idea stage, you can have a conversation, start talking to a few people who are in that space, building it and getting your early understanding if the space you're trying to operate in, is the idea sticky? Is there market potential? Will someone customer pay for this? all of that conversation, I'm assuming you've already done, and now you have a ready deck. Elevate is a great program for you to apply to. So I think that is one thing you can do. Right into KDEM, yes. Not so much as Bagel, but Wiser Capital, the fund that I represent, connectedwiser.vc. We have the website live, www.wiser.vc. Go on there and see how you can apply. These are the various opportunities and avenues that you can look at in getting in touch with us.
Thanks, Supria, for that. So, in the interest of time, we'll have to take a pause here. So, thank you so much, Supria, for joining us. Thank you so much, Sanjeev. So, it was indeed a wonderful session because we have just begun a particular initiative wherein this is going to be a series of 12 webinars. And the first one, it has been amplified by two people who are actually a part of the ecosystem building, and they have been helping people to develop the ecosystem, to become a part of the ecosystem. And so I think it creates a lot of value. And let's stay tuned. We have 11 more to go. So it's my honest request to each and everyone to join, to share it with your references, to join for the insights which you can fetch from this particular series of webinars. And let's stay tuned, wait patiently, and wait with a lot of hopes to see the next women CEO as soon as possible. Have a great day ahead, ladies and gentlemen.
Shubha,
Thank you so
Shubha,
much.
just what? Shubha, can I just take 10 seconds?
Yes, sir. Please, please.
Yeah, I think if you can on the KDEM website, if you can make us at Women at Work, when there's some materials already there, can we schedule the dates for the next session and showcase that, right? And then
Sure.
on the various, because I think somebody, Yashashni, was asking the question that where I can find when the next session going happen and how can I register. So if you can enable this part as in advance at one location, so that link is
Sure.
available for anybody to start getting registration done.
Sure, we'll do that.
And also,
Thank you so
Sanjeev,
much.
thank you so much for KDEM's partnership with Bagel. We are very proud of it, and we are very happy to launch the webinar series and look forward to our partnership growing.
Thank you.
Eco with you. Thank you. Thank you.
We can leave, Subha?
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you
we
so
can
much.
leave.
Thank you.
Thank you, Supria.
Thanks, Sanjeev. We'll be in touch.
Yep. Bye.